What's up in War Eagle War Report family? Your guy Ike Jones. We are here with another morning drop. Today, we are talking about turnovers. Can Auburn find a way to protect the football against Texas A&M this weekend? Y'all know we got to talk about it right here. Y'all know how we do, War Report style. Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report. Drop.
Whatever reason, I can't get my mic together this morning. Morning drop. We're here. It's a Monday morning. You got Ike Jones in here talking a little bit about protecting the football. Auburn has not done a great job of doing that. Done a much better job this season of getting takeaways, but got to do a better job of protecting the football this season. Before we get into the conversation, as always, I want y'all to do the necessary. Go out there and share the video with somebody. Let them know we're in here talking this morning. It's going to be a great time this morning talking a little bit about this turnover situation. Go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel if you can do that for me. If you're out there in podcast land, make sure that you guys are giving us a 5-star review on podcast. That definitely helps us out a lot. We appreciate everybody who continues to support us in that way. Dropping in this morning with me is my guy, B. Will, coming in. What's up, man? How you feeling this morning, B. Will?
Feeling good, feeling refreshed, kind of. But, we're going to get started. We're going to get started with the week. We're going to get started with Texas A&M week. I feel like I've got enough hate to do all the hating.
Yeah, listen, man, it wouldn't be a proper Texas A&M week if you weren't in here to be able to talk a little bit about your favorite coach to hate. Is that fair to say this is your favorite coach to hate?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. The sting has been taken out because now he's shown that he's incompetent. So now it's not as much fun because everybody's talking about is Jimbo over it. Yeah, okay. I've been on that. Now I got to find somebody else to get ahead of the curve on. See, I'm on Lincoln Riley. Riley now. See, that's gonna be my new talk. But we got to bury Jimbo's career first.
I mean, can we find somebody else in the SEC? Though, you know what I'm saying? Because Lincoln Riley's not somebody we're gonna play on a regular basis. We need some localized hate.
You know what? Let me work on that. Let me think about who we want to take down next. But yeah, Jimbo on the way out. We can really put the first nail in his coffin. Like the Bama dynasty is coming to an end. We can get Jimbo up out of here too. All right. We can do that this weekend. I'm a little torn on whether or not we should do that because he's incompetent. We should keep him at a school that's willing with deep pockets like Texas A&M. But right now we're focused on him and Texas A&M. Let's get them out of here this weekend. I need Cam Coleman back in the class, baby.
Yeah. That'd be nice to be able to have a class that includes 3 dynamic receivers like Perry Thompson, Bryce Kane, Cam Coleman. It'd be
Simmons ain't bad either. Hugh Freeze ain't playing.
Oh, I forgot. See, I forgot about But that's how crazy that junkie is, man.
This receiver class.
Yeah.
Woo.
All right.
It's gonna be crazy.
All right. But yeah, today's topic though, we're talking about turnovers. Of course, today is Monday. We do a little metrics on Monday, so I went and dug into the metrics, and the surface metrics say Auburn has given the ball away just as much as they've taken it away this season. Right. So we've got 7 turnovers on the year. And we have also given the ball away or taken the ball away 7 times this season. Texas A&M, on the other hand, has turned it over 3 times this year and only taken it away twice, right? So they have not really had games where turnovers have been the biggest factor, right? But they are a team, I think, that Auburn can't afford to be. We've been able to get away with being sloppy. That Cal game where we had, UMass, great. Didn't turn the ball over one time against UMass. Had one throw that, if we're being honest, probably should have been picked off, but a great play there by Javarius Johnson to be able to snag that away before the defender could jump the route. But then you get to to Cal, and you have a 4 turnover game, right? You go forward. I mean, at least we're progressing in the right direction as far as the numbers are. But in Sanford, you turn the ball over 3 times. And it's just like, yo, what are we doing out here, man? Like,
yeah.
Was it 3 turnovers against Sanford? I feel
It
like
was
my
3.
numbers are wrong.
It was 3. 2 picks and 1 muff punt.
That's right, the muff punt. That's what I'm
Yeah.
forgetting. I was like, the muff punt. Yeah. So 7 turnovers so far this season. All 7 of them coming in the last 2 games. Auburn needs to change that. I mean, of course, again, the trajectory is going in the right direction. I guess you could say from 4 to 3, but I just don't know that we're going to be able to get away with turning the ball over at this rate against SEC competition. So my question to you, B. Will, is what do you think that Auburn needs to do to be better about the turnover situation? Because, I mean, the fumbles, that's ball security, right? Like the first one from Peyton Thorne, that's just crazy, right? The next 2 that are from running backs are really more so. Damari, I don't fault him completely for his. That one's of the turnovers we have this season, the Damari fumble, I think, is the only one to me that feels acceptable.
Okay.
Just because I fully believe that Damari Alston was concussed, and it's a little difficult to be able to be secure with the football when you're not fully aware of where you are at the time.
Right.
Every turnover we've had this season, though, bad. They were all bad. What do we have to do to get? I mean, how does a coach correct a turnover issue, man?
I don't, last year we were having the same question. And of course, people were trying to pin it on the head coach being responsible for the ball being fumbled out of players' hands. Of course, it was never on the head coach specifically. I think the turnovers we've had this year mostly have been Peyton Thorne throwing the ball to the other team, more so than any other form of turnover. We did have 2 running back fumbles.
Mm-hmm. 2 running back fumbles and a muffed punt.
And a muff punt outside of interception. So if we're looking at each one of Peyton Thorne's interceptions, some of them you get, like we got confirmation that the communication between where Hooks was supposed to be on that route, where Peyton Thorne threw the ball. Mm-hmm. I expected a lot of those. Hey, you're not in the right spot. Well, I'm gonna throw it where you're supposed to be. I expected that. That's what I expect when a new quarterback comes in, running a new offense with new wide receivers. I expect miscommunication, turnovers. I think that's a part of the growth. I don't fault the quarterback and the wide receiver for that. This is a necessary part of getting to know each other on the field with real reps and real game time. I think that's acceptable. I know you said, well, Damari, you got concussed. And of course, we understand how that affects ball security, but not that any turnover is acceptable. I expected that type of those types of growing pains. What I didn't expect was I'm pressing and I'm going to really try to do this, not from an experienced QB. That's what I did not expect. I think those have been the worst turnovers. We saw 2 of them against Samford, even though, of course, we could say, hey, well, he actually got the ball 2 hooks on his hands. I saw that from the back end zone camera shot, it was crowded. It was too many people in there trying to make that throw. So I think that's been a negative, is him pressing, Peyton Thorne pressing, trying to throw the ball, right, and throwing late, throwing early. Some of that may still be a bit of inexperience in the system with his wide receivers. Some of it. Maybe you don't make that throw. Well, I can't really do that here with these players yet. Like, I don't have that. If I make this motion, I'm throwing low and away, so only you can get it. If he doesn't have that yet, then how do you even attempt to make those throws? Well, the answer is you shouldn't. But later on in the season, maybe you can. Maybe you've had enough reps with these guys, enough end zone, red zone opportunities to make those throws. I think experience is the number one thing that we can have that can get us settling Peyton Thorne down so he's not taking unnecessary risks, and he knows how to get these guys the ball in a way where it's not so risky because you've repped it. You see a lot of NFL combinations, QBs and wide receivers. They can make these throws to their wide receivers because they know. They know where the wide receiver likes the ball. Okay, you like it right there. Cool. I'm going to throw it. It's going to look like I'm trying to throw it at the ground, but really, I know you have the range to go and get this and make this catch.
Right.
That then it becomes a part of the offense of, like, we always talked about, what's his name? Patrick Mahomes and his wide receivers. Like, their scramble drill was elite. This guy, this is backyard football now, because I know this quarterback is going to get me the ball no matter where I am. And Patrick Mahomes can expect his wide receivers to make a play on the ball no matter where he puts it. We don't have that type of continuity. I mean, we don't have that type of quarterback. I mean, this was not for that comparison's sake, but at least you can get on the same page with the wide receivers so they know, okay, plays broken. Here's what I can expect from Peyton Thorne. Let me get in position and make an opportunity for him to get me the ball. We're not there yet. We got these big bodies. Most of them have been hurt, by the way. Martin's hurt. And Jair Shorter just got on the field. Right. Camden Brown hasn't been on the field a lot. So all of these big bodies that were supposed to make these types of plays easier have not been on the field yet. We could be a few weeks away from getting those big bodies back, and some of these incompletions and INTs being completions. We could be close to that. I think it's just a matter of time. I don't expect the running back fumbles to continue at all. I think that was a one-off bad night for the running backs at Cal. I don't think that keeps going, but I definitely think that experience and repetitions on the field, that means during this tough slate at A&M, home against Georgia, at LSU, we come out of that steeled and prepared for the rest of our schedule. What our win-loss looks like, I'm not sure, but I know we're going to come out of there a lot more prepared and taking better care of the ball.
Yeah, listen, the issue that I have is, and people say this a lot after the Cal game is, our offense looks disjointed. And I mean, actually, you remarked on this. It might not have been as bad if we didn't have the drive-killing turnovers. Right. Okay, that you don't feel as bad about that game if you're not killing yourself when you actually get some momentum going and then you turn the ball over. I mean, you could say really the same thing about that Samford game. Though the score looks impressive, right? We dominated the first half of that game and did not have the points to show that domination because of the red zone turnovers, right? You literally have an interception in the end zone on the first drive. The second drive, you get down into the red zone and it's a fourth down stop. So it's a turnover on downs. You later in the game, you have the big turnover to Coy Moore on the deep shot, right? Like you were in control of this game and you gave that control away. Theoretically, it's Samford, so they don't take advantage of those things. But is that sustainable? Is it sustainable that you can just have your defense come bail you out over and over again when you've put them in tough scenarios in Cal? Luckily against Samford, each of the turnovers was on the it's the opposite end of the field. So they've got to drive the entirety of the field, right? Like it's essentially, a punt into the end zone on two of those because they're interceptions in the end zone. And the third one, you're inside the red zone and it's a fourth down stop, but it's, right on the brink of the red zone. So they've still got to drive the entirety of the field to take advantage of it. Wasn't the case against Cal. Cal, those, the first interception, the first fumble, they're in the red zone already, right? The other interceptions that happened in those games were closer to the middle of the field, or the other interception, I should say, and the fumbles closer to the middle of the field. So you're putting your defense essentially up against it immediately, and they rise to the challenge. Is that sustainable? Like, I know we're working through kinks with receivers and trying to figure out timing, but I mean, we don't have no more time for that, right? So
it's over.
Either they're in position to do that now, or they're going to continue. If that's the problem, is that a solution, right? Does the solution just, have we fixed it because we got a couple of reps in versus Samford?
No, we're not fixed because we haven't had pressure put on us like we're going to have pressure put on us going forward. Texas A&M is a better defense than we played this season. They are the best defense. I don't even know if they're a good SEC defense, but they're definitely
Texas A&M currently ranked number 38 in the country, giving up 5.52 yards per play, 298.2 yards per game on defense so far this season. They are the 12th ranked pass defense, the 51st ranked pass defense in the country, 35th ranked rush defense in the country currently by the numbers.
Yeah. And some of that was they played two cupcakes, just like we played two cupcakes. So
our numbers look better than theirs overall. On defense, we're 14th ranked as opposed to theirs 38th. We're 42nd against the rush, so they're slightly better there. We're 12th ranked against the pass. They're 51st.
So we had some cushion by playing one of the worst Power 5 teams. We played one of the worst Power 5 teams. They played Miami, who's definitely more
Cal's
equipped.
Defense is now ranked in like the top 15 in the country, right? Like, so Cal's
I'm talking about what our Our offense versus Cal's defense.
Cal's offense, yeah. For just defense, yeah, right.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that Texas A&M is, of course, poor. They've got talent. I don't know how good they are. We don't know how good they are. Miami could have schemed them up great. Just schemed them up, got the best of them, and they'll be back to locking things down. But Miami looked very fluid with the pass in that game. And I think we talked about this. We don't look fluid with the pass yet. We started to look fluid against an FCS school. I don't think that translates forward to, hey, we look great next week and we flip the switch. You're asking for a lot, because one thing that Miami had that we didn't is continuity. John Brandon, there you go.
Yeah.
They have had the same quarterback. They went through a rough stretch in last year, and they didn't even look great week 1 against their opponent before Texas A&M came to town. They apparently planned for that. They had something ready for that guy. They saw the same defensive coordinator from year 1 to year 2. They had the same quarterback from year 1 to year 2. They had a lot going that made it much easier for them to plan and attack what Texas A&M was not going to be good at, and they executed that plan perfectly. We haven't executed any game perfectly yet. I saw more from Miami than I've seen from us so far, and it makes me wonder if we have that in us yet at this point in the season. I'm not sure.
I mean, is it necessary for us to have like what Miami had as far as that's concerned? So here's the overarching question I guess I want to get to before we get to our break. Is it enough for Auburn to just take care of the football and we go out there and win? We win the turnover battle. Do we win the game in this game? Or are we going to, can we win an ugly game that doesn't include turnovers, where it's a bunch of punts, maybe, is my question there.
I don't think so. I think we need to, this can't be an ugly game where we're turning the ball over. Peyton Thorne can't press. Well, no, let's back up. He can't throw 2 end zone INTs and we win this game. Even if our defense gets 3 takeaways, would that make up for it? Do we just need to win the battle, or do we need to be mistake free on offense? It's really hard. It's really difficult to know if Texas A&M is the type of team that is good enough to where any mistakes against them are going to cost you the game. We know that's how good Alabama has been or Georgia has been in the past. We don't know if Texas A&M is that good yet. They didn't look that good against their 1 Power 5 opponent. But again, we haven't looked that good against our 1 Power 5 opponent. So it's really hard to say that they're that bad or that good. What I've seen from us so far leads me to believe we actually don't get too down. Mistakes aren't going to kill us. The morale of the team, the defense will go, okay, no, I got you. All right. And not be out there hanging their heads because they got to go back on the field. That's great. Can they keep the game in check for us? I don't think they're going to go out there and stop an opponent 5 times if the opponent starts on our side of the field. I think that was a one-time thing. Okay, that was a very bad opponent. But what they can do is limit them to a couple of field goals. What they can do is, once they get on our side of the field,
does Texas A&M have a field goal kicker?
Hey, that's a good question.
I don't know. I haven't watched enough of their games.
So the turnovers, of course, we don't want to do it. We don't want to give the ball away. That's going to bury us. Will that decide the game? It's I just don't know if Texas A&M is good enough to worry about it, but it really still depends on what Peyton Thorne can do. How long does it take him to settle in? I think Hugh Freeze and company have a plan to get the offense going. They have some things they want to do with the passing game. Can Peyton Thorne settle down? How quickly can he settle down? Once he settles down, I think we're going to be hard to stop. He needs to settle down quickly so we can reduce the risk of damage done by turnovers. I don't think we can afford to do a lot of them. 1 or 2 early, sure, but the defense gives you only a 0-6 hole. Oh, we're only down 6 points. Okay, now we can get cooking and get moving. But any more than that, I don't think you go down more than double digits and stay in this game. I don't.
Yeah, we can't have a start like we did against Cal, where literally the first drive, 3 plays in, we turned the ball over, and they're in plus territory more often than not in the first half of that game consistently. The bottom line is that turnovers kill drives, but you know what's not a drive killer?
What's that?
Lynch Toyota. Lynch Toyota is the sponsor of today's program. Lynch Toyota of Auburn is the area's premier Toyota dealership, serving the Auburn area for over 20 years. Not only can you shop new Toyota vehicles like the popular Camry, Tacoma, and RAV4, but you can also find great deals on a huge selection of certified pre-owned vehicles. Just take a look at all their 5-star reviews. The customers who shop at Lynch Toyota are loyal and keep coming back. To sell, buy, trade, or service your vehicle, make sure you stop by Lynch Toyota of Auburn for the best customer experience. Get started now at lynchtoyotaofauburn.com. All Toyotas are created equal. Lynch Toyota makes the difference. Lynch Toyota of Auburn, great place, great selection, great deals, and really great people. B. Will, you have been a loyal Toyota man for as long as I've known you.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you ever been to Lynch Toyota though, so I don't know.
I haven't been Lynch Toyota. Man, we've been buying used, man, because you seen these prices?
Nah, listen, brother.
Prices are crazy out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we know we was riding in the Camry in college.
Yeah, man.
Same Camry from high school to adulthood. And I mean, I don't have it right now, but man, listen, they last. That's number one thing. Toyota lasts, so I'm gonna ride with them.
I'm not mad at that at all. Now, I've never personally owned a Toyota vehicle, but I did get my last vehicle from a Toyota dealership. So that's what it is. That certified pre-owned situation is nice.
Gotta do it.
All right. Anyway, y'all know we're getting into the time now where we're going to get into the comments. We appreciate you all jumping in for us here on the Morning Drop. Always want to hear your thoughts on the subject. We'll get it started with Corey Weber here, who says we have to protect the football against A&M. If we expect to have a chance, they will come out fighting with their backs against the wall. This is something we talked about a little bit preseason and then repeated again once it came to fruition. If Texas A&M loses the Miami game, there's going to be a bit of desperation for that Texas A&M team when they get to facing us and we're coming into College Station. I think that's true. I don't know that Texas A&M wants to go 0-2 in Power 5 games this early in the season, and definitely does not want their overall record to be 2-2 when they're kicking off SEC play. So yeah, their backs are more against the wall than ours, right? But I do believe that this is a game when you're projecting forward for Auburn's season that Auburn absolutely needs to be able to stay in that bowl contention conversation.
Yeah, we had, I think, how our bosses, tosses, and losses shook out. Most of us had this as a toss-up game. This looked very much winnable after you saw how they got carved up by Miami. So, okay, we know they're at least deficient in some places. Do we have enough right now? Because now that Miami win made them desperate. As much as we loved the idea of Jimbo having 2 losses in September and him being firmly on the hot seat, they're going to be fighting like hell, man. And this would be an impressive win, not because A&M is the greatest team in the conference this year, but because they have every reason to come back and sit at home and fight against a 2-2 start. If we can get this win, I think it says a lot about the team Hugh Freeze is putting together.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This would be, I mean, I don't really even know if it matters how they get the win. And let me tell you where I was going with my initial thought. I would say that this would be the statement win so far this season. I don't know that Cal counts as a statement win.
No.
I don't think anybody on that Auburn team expected to be in a dogfight at Cal. They expected to go across country and get a W against Cal. Like that was a confident team walking in there that didn't execute well, but they expected that win. This is where we start to get into the place where some doubt gets to be changed in the opposite direction. If you can go out here and put a W up on the road against Texas A&M, not because Texas A&M is so great, but because for the longest, people have just been saying that I don't know that this team, this Auburn team, has the talent to compete in the SEC. You go out there and you get an SEC win, regardless of who it is. I think it starts to change some perceptions of some people about this program. You have any thoughts about that?
I don't know if it changes the perceptions from externally, because I don't think people will value Texas A&M that highly. It won't be a statement win for
It'll
people
be like
outside of the
Colorado beating Colorado State, right? It'll be like, oh, okay.
Right.
I mean, I know it's a conference game, but let's settle down. It's Colorado State.
Right. Well, kind of. Colorado State, for where Colorado has come from, any win looks good for them. So
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, but listen, we both were kind of in the dumps last year, right?
We were
both 5-win teams, not looking really great the entirety of that season. I think it's, as far as levels, it's comparable, right? They're two right now. People think bottom of the SEC West programs fighting it out,
right?
Getting the win, I guess. promotes somebody out of the cellar.
Yeah. I mean, it at least puts you on the path to, you're still competitive, you're still in the game. I want this win, man. I want to be better than Jimbo. Look, at least let's be better than Jimbo Fisher for a second straight year. I would love that. But I don't think it'll change opinions from outside, especially if it doesn't look fluid. If it's a turnover fest and people are fighting it out, and if it's not a fluid offense that we see that looks like it's propelling us to a victory, a coaching victory where we had the answer to whatever they threw at us defensively, then people will say, oh, I don't know, Texas A&M, that just looks kind of bad. They might just be a bad. We saw them look bad once. We saw them look bad again. Now it's Texas A&M is bad. Not that Auburn is good, but we still got some time to turn it around. Yeah. Even if that's the case.
I believe it. Chris S. asked the question, can we not get Batty to field punts? He hasn't traditionally been a punt returner in his career. He's been kickoff returner. It's not that I don't think that he can. I just don't think that that's like his best role for the team. Yeah. But they got to get a solution out there if Keontae Scott's not going to be healthy. And if he has a high ankle sprain as reported, he's not going to be there for the next couple of weeks. So we got to get a solution, even if it's just going back there and fair catching all of them with J. Simp like they did in this previous game. I don't know what was happening with VAR as to why he came out of the game. Maybe after that muffed punt, somebody fell on him weird and he, was banged up. He didn't come back in after that. Jay Fair, as much as I think he's a talented guy, I don't think he's a punt returner. So, we're going to have to figure out another solution back there at punt return. And I don't know what other guys we have on the team that are dynamic in that way. So maybe just get a sure-handed person, have them go back there and fair catch everything. And if it's just wide open, all right, take off with it. But
usually the most athletic wide receivers and cornerbacks play some punt coverage in high school. Maybe J.C. Horry. I don't know if he did or not. He's fast enough. Somebody with the speed and who did it in high school. Those seem to be the most prime candidates.
Jeremiah Cobb, right? Like somebody like that.
Maybe. Now he's got the speed and the juice. He might be a good option. He's already been on the field, comfortable. I mean, hey, they'll figure it out. They know what they got out there.
Yeah, I mean, but with that's where it becomes interesting too. The reason why I would not be really in favor of Batty right now is because we don't know what Jarquez Hunter's situation is right now with him having the lower ankle foot situation in this last game. Is he going to be healthy enough to play? And if not, then you still want to have your 3-back rotation. So you want to throw Batty and Cobb back there on punts? Not really, right? Like you want to make sure that they're healthy enough to be able to carry the ball during the game, because you're going to need those three. I mean, you still have Steven Jackson. I don't want to pretend as if Steven Jackson is not a viable running back on this roster. So
Sean Jackson.
Yes, Sean Jackson. Excuse me.
Steven Jackson, really good running back too.
He was really good running back. He just didn't happen to play for Auburn football right now. But yeah, Sean Jackson is still a viable candidate. So I don't know. They definitely need to come up with a solution over this week. It'll be interesting. I wonder if that's going to be a topic of conversation this week during the presser as to what they're going to do with punt return duties in the absence of Keontae Scott. And Donovan Kaufman used to be a pretty good punt returner, but he's also been injured. So like I don't know if you risk putting him back there, right? So if he's coming back, I don't know what they do. So we'll see what happens in that regard. Stephen Riley jumps in and says turnover on downs 2. Yes, those have been a problem for Auburn so far. 4th and short. We have not been able to capitalize on those. So drive killing turnovers, whether that is fumbles, interceptions, muffed punts, or turning it over on downs, have plagued this Auburn offense so far and have colored the perception of what Auburn can do offensively, just because you've killed your own drives by giving the ball away at inopportune times. Because really, we haven't punted the ball a lot this season. I mean, we've punted it, but we haven't done it a lot. No, we've given the ball away in a lot of ways. It's either been touchdowns or turnovers, pretty much. Like either we're gonna score it or we're just gonna give you the ball. Like that pretty much seems like what that's been so far this season.
Yeah. I would like to get Chapman some more work, please.
As opposed to turning the ball over, yes.
Yeah.
Agnes jumps in and says, well, that means we have really improved on taking the ball away, since it seems to keep gifting it over and over to your opponent. Turnovers have definitely been better. We've been more opportunistic on defense this year than we have been of recent history.
We have, and a lot of that has come from the defensive backfield, and that makes me really excited. J. Simp is back there doing a fantastic job in this year. We've gotten some fumbles too. We've been able to dial up the pressure, at least when we were completely healthy. We were dialing up the pressure pretty well. we will see what this is just going to be a really good test to see what we're made of. Can we turn over a team that's at home, that's talented, equal athletes? Yes, that this is the test I think we've all been waiting for to
Right.
see how the first 3 games went. Let's get on the road and see what we got.
Yeah. Eric Montgomery says, I think part of the turnover issue is college football doesn't have a preseason. Auburn is trying to evaluate players and identify their team's strengths, a lot of trial and error.
I agree. That's some of it.
Yeah.
I've seen people remark about the pros as well, saying the first few weeks of the pro season, because in preseason they are playing, but their starters aren't really playing. They're really just trying to evaluate all these other people. So getting all the pros on the field and getting them to execute game plans, you work some of this stuff out, and then by October, they're who they're going to be. It's kind of the same thing for us. You put yourself at risk when you play a quality team in the first couple of weeks of the year. So yeah, we didn't have to play a quality team, but we looked rough because 42%, not 42%, 42 players on this roster are brand new to this roster. We turned over more than half the starters. This is a really big deal. So we do have to get in rhythm. There is a lot of trial and error. I agree, Eric.
Yeah. Miller House says, shout out to JD Rim on his interception last Saturday. We need more of the youngsters to step up. I was definitely excited. Number one, to see him back from injury.
Yeah.
He had been injured the vast majority of the offseason for Auburn, and to see him get playing time, but then to see him step up and make a play during that playing time as well. I've been high on him since he has been at Auburn. I liked when I saw him come in last year and play a little bit, and his ability to be physical as an outside DB. And I feel as if the outside corner position, watching him and KN Lee go out there and play, and I'm like, our outside corner is going to be all right next year when DJ and Nehemiah get up out of here. Those two young men will be holding down the outside corner position quite admirably for Auburn.
Outside, we're going to be good. We need another headhunter like DK, though. We
Listen, I think Caleb actually did really good when he came in and played. Caleb Wooden did a good job when he was in here. Now he's still not quite physically the same as a Keontae Scott or a Donovan Kaufman, but I like what we have in guys like Sylvester Smith that could come in and play that role. What's the other young man that was? We've got some guys I think that can fill in right there in that position. Auburn's defensive backfield is going to be formidable for some years to come if we're able to keep this young talent in here the way that we have been right now.
Yeah, we keep it stocked. It'll be good.
Chris S. with a couple here. First, he says he might have been feeling himself on that double coverage INT. It was inexplicable. I think that was one of those where he had predetermined before the snap. He liked whatever look that he had with Coy Moore on that and didn't really look to see what the safety was doing on it, because it was darn near triple coverage that he threw into because the other backside safety was rotating over as well. I was just like, I don't know if you thought he was going to transform into Calvin Johnson mid-route or whatever was going to happen. I know he's Calvin Johnson's Megatron, but I don't think that his base form is Coy Moore. So, I don't know what he thought he was seeing down there, my boy. But and Coy Moore is good, but he's 6 foot and he ain't jumping out the gym type situation, bro. So I don't know what that was.
And for Jair Shorter to be visible, in his same frame, it's not like he was left of field and then Coy was right of field. No, if you looking at Coy, you saw Jair Shorter right here running wide open.
Yeah,
man, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the other one from Chris S here says, next 3 games are rough. We've got to have this one. I think that, for a confidence for this team going forward is they need to get an SEC win under their belt, because I don't know that you want to try to get your first SEC win at home against Georgia. And if you fail against that one, then have your first SEC win to try to go on the road against LSU. That's tough. That's a tough 3-game stretch. So you definitely want to try to get your first win out here against Texas A&M. And that's not an easy proposition to go into College Station, though Auburn tradition. People say stuff like this. Auburn's always been good on the road against Texas A&M. And though that has seemed to be the trend since the Texas A&M Auburn situation has come to fruition in SEC play, this is a completely different team, completely different coach, right? So like we can throw all of that pretty much out the window and just talk about where we are right now as programs.
Right.
Texas A&M is in the position that they're in, which they're trying to battle back to respectability in the SEC, and so
Right.
is Auburn.
Yeah.
So I mean, that puts us on equal footing. Then you have to give slight advantage Texas A&M because they're at home.
Yeah.
Slight advantage Texas A&M because they do have a second-year guy coming in starting at quarterback.
Right.
But I think we have the better head coach.
Yes.
I think the early start time favors Auburn.
I agree.
And I think that we have a defense that's better this year than the defense last year Connor Wigman was going against. So Auburn has its advantages in this, but I agree with this statement. We need this one to get out early in SEC play.
Yeah, for real.
All right. JB jumps in and says, is it me or do we rarely recover our own fumbles? Last season we recovered a lot of our own fumbles because we fumbled the ball a lot. A whole lot last year. But this year, I mean, we haven't recovered any of them, I don't think. I think every fumble that we've had, we lost. I can't in my I'm not looking at stats right now, but in my mind, I can't think of a time where we fumbled the ball and we recovered that fumble so far this year. If it happened, it was like once. So I don't know.
I mean, we fumbled the ball in very precarious positions right at the sideline by yourself.
Other than the muff punt. I don't know the muff punt, but yeah.
I mean, you're outnumbered when you muff a punt. You got 3 people coming down there to get you and you by yourself. So, and the same thing when you're running the ball and towards the end of a run when you're getting tackled, you're into the other team secondary players. It's more of them than you down there. Like when we fumble at the line of scrimmage, much better opportunity to recover. You got your lineman down there. Somebody's going to see it pop out and you can fall on it. But we haven't been fumbling there, thankfully. So our plays are getting a chance to get going because that's one way we killed ourselves before was quarterback getting pressured and getting stripped, the quarterback just losing the ball. We haven't had that happen, so at least we've had that improvement.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we will be in a better position to be able to capitalize on the fumbles if they do happen against Texas A&M in this game. But let's just hope we don't have to worry about recovering no fumbles unless we're forcing them things. And let's get out here and get a W. All right, we got to get out of here. Once again, thank you to today's show sponsors, Lynch Toyota of Auburn. Make sure you guys visit them to do some shopping online at lynchtoyotaofauburn.com. As always, thank you to the sponsor of the Morning Drop, which is rogueshop.com. Head over there using code RAPPORT. You get 15% off of your purchase when you do that. That lets them know the War Report sent you. We're getting out of here. Hopefully you all are having a wonderful Monday. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video with somebody else. Until the next time, and as always, War Eagle.
Peace.